Hi everyone, this is Tanya the Lady Strange. Welcome to the collective weekly reading and guidance and awareness for the week of November 10th of 2024 to November 16th of 2024. That's how I do my readings and how I'm guided on that for the weekly readings, the energies, and forecast. Now, this is just a collective reading, so again, take away what resonates. This may or may not apply to you, or certain parts may be. It's just a general for the collective whom this may apply for. Now, with this upcoming week, we're already into November already. Strange and crazy how fast time goes. Again, as I was saying, not possibly day to day, but over when you look at the big picture, it certainly does. So we're all amongst a lot of change. Going through different circumstances, relationships, issues, and how we perceive the world and how the world perceives us and we're working through. But again, this is just not a predictory message. Tarot is really not for that. It's more of a guidance and an illumination. Maybe a way to look at something, to integrate something, to heal, or maybe that will aid you as a tool, as it does with me. So let's see what this week I am using, by the way. I'm using the, wow, I can't think today. The Antique Anatomy Tarot. Wow, okay. So I'm using this by Claire Goodchild. So what message does the powers that be, my guides, the universe, and of course myself, and overall, what is the message and energies and awareness that will help the collective this may apply to be mindful of and aware of, to get them through this upcoming week, energies, circumstances, relationships, goals, and just overall to the survival and life in this human experience that we each have with each other. So let's see what the cards say. Again, things may change day to day, circumstance to circumstance. Again, this is just kind of like a general barometer, just like the weather forecast is. That's constantly changing too, no matter where we live. So the first card that is coming up for this is going to be the Blades. The Blades is swords, typically in most decks, but this is the Blades. Of course, it's an Antique Anatomy. I used this once on the channel, I believe within a month and a half ago. A beautiful deck. I do need to work with it more. Well, I do need to work with many of my decks, but my pathwork is changing as my experience changes, as each of yours, I'm sure, does. Now, okay, so that's the King of Swords. In this case, the King of Blades. See what comes up next. That is going to be the Moon, which is a major arcana. And lastly, because I usually guided to do 3 towards tarot, 3 being a very magical, spiritual number, and a very number of being in union and magic perception, as they say with old folk, wise tales and sayings, so things happen in 3s. So 3 overall is a very magical, potent number, whether it is in magic or in life or spirituality. So the third card this week is going to be the Knight of Coins. Again, such a beautiful deck. Very Victorian-esque, very underworld, but very classy. There was a lot of thought you could feel that was put into this. So let's see what the message and integrate what the tarot actually has for this upcoming week. And then we'll get some oracle, as we always do, to clarify and advisory. So what I'm seeing here, and with the King of Blades, or King of Swords, okay, is that there is going to need to be a sense this week with the Moon, because the Moon, I do feel, is going to be illuminating a lot. So let's switch these around. So we have the King of Blades and the Moon. The moon is the central focus, and that's why it's the second card that came up. But to me, I feel this is the central focus, the central message of this week. Now, the moon has different aspects of it in different cycles, as we all know. The tides are affected by it. Our energies are affected by it. How the day-to-day circumstances are, astrologically, magically, and just because of how it illuminates the night and during our sleep, and just, of course, as I mentioned, our cycles and things that do parallel with that in this life. It's also a illuminator, meaning it shows and guides the path through the dark, whether it's when you're driving, whether you're walking at night, you look out the window. The different levels of lights can show and illuminate things you typically don't see, sometimes make you see shadows. That's the other aspect of this moon, is that it's very illuminating on the path and illuminates sometimes which, as I mentioned, is perceived but not seen, or vice versa. However, it's also a card of the subconscious and what lies beneath. Your intuition, your dreams, your past experiences and traumas, things that may be, again, deeply rooted underneath the circumstances of your experiences, your path. But it's also a card of magic, a card of connecting with the spiritual, or connecting with yourself in your own personal cycles and the personal cycles of the world and change. So basically with the moon this week, there is going to be a lot coming to the surface. Of course, as I mentioned in the beginning, just a few minutes ago, especially if you're in the U.S., yeah, there's a big change in climate. And I'm not just talking weather, but I don't really prefer to talk about politics. We each have our own views and experience, as we do with religion or our own personal spirituality, gnosis, and day-to-day life. And there's nothing wrong with that, to be honest. So the moon is also indicating to me, use the moon as your illumination. Now, the full moon is on Friday the 15th of this week, so that energy is already there. And I don't know about any of you have noticed, but this, for some reason, it's already seeming and feeling the energies of the full moon. Rather, a couple of days earlier, I usually feel a day or two ahead. I've already felt it since Friday, give or take. So I think there's some importance coming up with the moon this week too, in the energy, and kind of like another portal coming into play, or something to step forth in our energy and our experience. So look for the illumination of that, and also look at the shadow aspects of each side, the bright and the light and the cycles of things, because cycles obviously come into play. What do we need to let go? What do we need to let in? What do we need to reassess and to move forward? So, and what's going to help us with that central energies of the moon this week, as I just mentioned, and those type of subconscious intuitive energies. There's been a lot of intuition, as I mentioned, if you look at my previous few weeks videos. But for the the King of Blades, and then the Knight of Pentacles, or Knight of Coins, but Pentacles. So, again, Blades, swords are of the realm of logic, intellect, planning, and sometimes also like the double-edged sword of approaches, choices, perspective, or even possibly conflict or challenges and adversity. But the King of Swords approaches things with a highly perception of experience, intellect, and logic. So this week, through the different experiences of things that are being illuminated, shown, brought to the surface, and especially with our relationships, our interactions with ourselves and the world, and what's changing, also in our personal cycles of the earth in our life, that basically it is definitely advised the best way it's going to get us through this week, and most effectively, is you looking at things with logic, planning, and our personal experience, and looking to the experience of those around us, and using our resources on that. No matter what stage we are in our life, we all had different experiences, learning, wisdom, that we can definitely glean and pull from. So the Knight, or the King of, yeah, I keep saying that. I think then this Knight's going to play something in a moment. But with the King of Blades, look to that and look to the logic. Even if something seems illogical, look to the logical side of that with the moon. But pair the maybe unlogic, pair that doesn't make sense, but kind of pair those two together by perspective and truth and illumination. And again, just a lot of reflection. Now, especially from what we've already, how far, whom this may apply to, how far we have come, even this year in such a short period of time for ourselves and showing up for ourselves in our relationships. But with the Knight of Coins on here, Knights usually mean different types of energy moving in, or as how we approach and how life and circumstances and others approach us. Now, coins have to do with pentacles, typically in most suits, which is earth-based material, that which is tangible, like our home, family, jobs, career, finances, learning, the material world. Now, this one, because of course this is Rider-Waite based inspired deck, however, not the traditional Rider-Waite image that we're used to with the knight riding in with a coin being offered. I still see that because that I kept saying the word knight, there's got to be something important besides the nighttime with the moon, but also this knight is going to come even bigger in play than the King of Blades. The King of Blades, I think, is just an underlying advice. This is actually saying that it is what is being offered to us. So what have we already worked towards and have builded on a material day-to-day life in the mundane world, such as our jobs, our home, what we're preparing for with our resources, with our finances, our bills, our resources, meaning what we can use, what we have, what we can reassess and rebring into that. I do see an offer or something this week with the Knight coming, a message and an offer or something being presented. And again, something on the tangible. So it may be something financial or a small windfall or bonus for someone. It may be an offer of learning or learning a new task or trade in your job, your career, or if you're going to school, an interest that you're building on. So it's going to bring tangible results. I do see a lot of tangible results because whom this collective is, they're going to be working with the King of Blades and the logic and the planning and their experiences and being very resourceful. The Knight of Coins is a little bit more of a slow, in my opinion, tangible but not irrelevant type of energy that brings forth steadfast results, which is what we need. Steady, slow, but rooted, grounded energies to get us through. So let's see what the clarifying oracle has to go along with this message. And I will be using one of my favorite oracles, the Fallen Angels. She's an excellent companion, clarifier, very true and honest. Not just for myself, but for readings and guidance for many circumstances and situations. So again, a beautiful deck. And the imagery is great and speaks to my soul. So, and complementary with this type of deck, meaning the tarot, that is. Let's see what the collective, what to clarify this week's reading, message and energies and advisory to best get through or to help through, to be mindful of for this week, for whomever this may apply to, and just to give some additional clarification, clarity, and advisement. Okay, so we have turmoil, and we have recuperation. So, what that is saying to me, and in conjunction with the message, being turmoil and recuperation. There's already been so much turmoil in our lives, from our past experiences and our roots as we grew up as child into adults and our different experiences, or no matter what age we are, we already have huge base foundations, and we each have different turmoil, trauma, and experiences that we carry as baggage from our past, but we're bringing now into the future. Some we have let go, some we still dealing with. The turmoil, like I said, with what's happening and what we all sense, or those of us that have our eyes, our logic, like the King of Blades, wide open and perceiving the truth and working through it. Yes, there's going to be turmoil coming. We have had turmoil. It's going to be even more. We already feel it. But it's also asking ourselves, despite the turmoil we have experienced and dealt with, or haven't fully dealt with, which the moon illuminates and kind of ties into the moon energy this week, like I said, is that give yourself some recuperation, meaning because of that Knight of Coins indicating you've already been working hard with your approach and your circumstances research, give yourself a chance to recuperate. Sit down for an extra hour, have an extra cup of coffee or an adult libation if that is into your thing. Go for a walk, read a book, laugh, watch something mindless, spend time with friends and family, indulge in something very small. Because it's definitely been earned. But recuperation, maybe take a bath, go to sleep earlier, wake up a little later if you can. Nurture your soul and recuperate. Recuperate is regrouping yourself and your perspective with the illumination that's coming this week. And that's also going to be a thing on there. I do believe that the moon is going to be illuminating a lot of recuperation is needed and self-care in a healthy way to deal with our perspectives, our emotions, and to give us the ability to work through our relationships, our circumstances, and perspectives. And finally, I'm going to pull one more card, and this is going to be from the Earth and Bone Oracle by Syrian Shadows, another one of my favorite amazing oracle decks. All four of his decks that I know of are amazing, truthful, honest. The guidebooks are written wittingly, logically, correctly, and do apply to different perspectives. And it also tells you what you need to know, even if you don't want to hear it. But it's also a great cheerleader, coach, and teacher, as all of his decks seem to be. Even if they're a little bit on the darker side, there's nothing wrong with darkness, to be honest. Healthy integration. Oh, and one decided to throw itself. Let's see, or jump out. Let me see if I can grab her. Okay. Let's see what then goes with this. Since it did want to jump out, let's see what the overall message is, an advisory for the week to wrap this up, for whom this applies for. Migration, which is initiation, adventure, and freedom. Again, and that's a very, very great wrap up and affirmative and energetic messages to wrap this up with. That means taking the migration besides moving, and moving location, physical body, and things. Migration and initiation, whether you are a practitioner, witch, whatever the case, or you're just a, whatever your spiritual path may be or may not be, migration is a sense of, like it says, adventure. It doesn't have to be physical travel or movement or that type of thing. It is a migration of your energy, your thought form, your perception, and working through, like I said, traumas, illusions, through the turmoil, but giving yourself and giving each other grace and compassion. It's about finding freedom with knowing yourself and knowing your truth. And knowing the truth that you're putting forth for yourself in your relationships of what matters. The freedom of, despite freedoms that might be changing, or may not be changing, who knows. There's a lot of uncertainty that will be happening. But despite that, look to the freedoms you do have. And even if it's the small personal freedoms you do have, like being able to, like I said, have that adult libation or cup of coffee, the freedom to, in your own home, do what you would like, in your own privacy. Even if you have to stay private, or in a hermit mode, look to the freedom that you have of that, the freedom of recuperation, the freedom of that you know what you think and you know yourself and what you love and how you support yourself and others. Take that initiation of the new truths that are coming and work them to your advantage, like that Knight of Coins says and that King of Blades says. Illuminate your world, illuminate your truth. Use that to a positive illumination even when the shadows come up and that which is not seen. So I know it's a bit long, but if you followed along, it is appreciated. And please like, comment, and subscribe as it helps my channel grow. And knowing that my messages, just as others' messages, reach me and inspire me and empower me, we all guide each other and show and carry the torch for each other. That's the best way we're all going to get through our day-to-day life and not just survive, but thrive. So with that being said, I hope this week goes well. Look to the illumination, look to your logic, look to your strength, and look how far you come and what you are progressing forth with. And of course, look to the adventure of things and take that rest. And stay strange and blessed be.